Today we'll factor trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c and in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the standard form of a quadratic trinomial, we'll be working with trinomials or polynomials with three terms. The highest exponent will be squared, which is called quadratic. And when you square, it comes from the word quadrus. Quadratic comes from the word quadrus, which means square. So the types, so what we'll be doing, we'll start with the standard form of a quadratic trinomial, and we're going to factor it. So we're going to have ax plus factor 1 times ax plus factor 2. So what does that mean? We'll start with something that looks like 3x squared minus 13x minus 30, and we'll then determine the two factors that will multiply together to give us that trinomial. And in this instance, it's 3x plus 5 times x minus 6. So in order to check our answer, we can FOIL it, and we'll get what we started with. So let's summarize what we're going to do here. I'll give you the formula, and then we'll do a practice problem. So we are going to start with ax squared plus bx plus c, a quadratic trinomial. And we're going to be using the x method, so we're going to draw an x. And in this region here, we're going to take a times c from our trinomial, whatever number that is, and we're going to place that there. And then in this region here, we're going to place the number b, the coefficient b. And then we're going to determine the two factors that multiply together to give us ac and add to give us b. And then we're going to divide those by ax. So factor 1 divided by ax and factor 2 divided by ax. And then we'll write our factor. We'll take ax plus f1 and ax plus f2. So here we have, let's work one together, 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. So the first thing is we draw an x, because we're using the x method. Then we're going to take a times c. A times c. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And then we're going to write b in this region. So b is negative 7. Now we're going to come up with two factors that multiply to negative 8 and add to negative 7. So we think of the factors of 8. So a negative 8 and a plus 1 multiply to negative 8 and add to negative 7. Okay, once we have the factors, f1 and f2, we're going to divide them by ax, which is 2x. And then we're going to reduce if we can. So this is negative 4 over x. And this can't be reduced. So now we can write our factors. This is equal, okay? So now we're going to write ax plus f1. So we're going to write this plus a factor. So one factor is going to be x minus 4, and the other factor is going to be 2x plus 1. Okay, so we'll be using the x method. So let's factor each trinomial. So to begin with, let's start with an x. Then we take a times c. 1 times 24 is 24. And then we write b, which is 11. What two numbers multiply to give me 24? What two factors of 24 multiply to give me 24 and add to give me 11? Well, plus 8 and plus 3. Now I'm going to divide by 2a, which is 1x, or just x, divided by x. And now I can write my factor. X plus 8, x plus 3. They add to give me 11 and multiply to give me 24. Let's try number 2. Start with an x. We take a times c, so 1 times 12 is 12. Then we write b. What two factors of 12 add to 8? Plus 6 plus 2. Now we divide by ax, so that's x, and now we write our factors. X plus 6 and x plus 2. They multiply to give me 12 and add to give me 8. Number 3. We start with an x. A times c is negative 15, and b is 2. What are the two factors of negative 15 that add to 2? So a plus 5 and a minus 3. Divided by x, right? We have 1x, we'll just write x. And that's x plus 5 times x minus 3. Let's start with an x. A times c, 1 times negative 18 is negative 18. B is negative 7. What two factors of 18 add to give you negative 7? So negative 9 plus 2, multiply to negative 18 and add to negative 7, divided by ax, which is just x. So my factors are x minus 9, x plus 2. All right, number 6, we're going to start with a leading coefficient that's not 1 this time. So it'll be a little more complicated, but we can do it. So we're still going to take a times c. A times c is 10, and b is 11. What two factors of 10 add up to 11? And now we're going to divide by 2a, 2x, ax, which is 2x and 2x. Now we can reduce here, right? That's going to be 5 over x, plus 5 over x. This one we can't reduce. So our factors are x plus 5 and 2x plus 1. All right, number 7 here. Start with an x. Take a times c. 6 times a negative 5 is a negative 30. B is 7. What are the factors of negative 30 that add to 7? And then divide by ax, which is 6x, 6x, and now let's reduce. That's going to be 5, 3, so a plus 5. This is going to be a minus 1/2. And that's going to give me 3x plus 5 and 2x minus 1.